So now I would like to introduce you to my colleagues and get us started on tonight's presentation. We have with us Julio Reyes, who is the director of the Undocumented First Generation College and Low Income Student Center, also known as the U-Fli Center. We also have Valeria Chavez Ayala, is the assistant director of the center, and Jay Salcido, who is the program manager for the Kessler Scholars Program, which we'll also go over this evening. So I'm going to step aside and let Julio take over with the presentation. Take it away, Julio.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mikkel. We always love the opportunity to be here and connect with the staff. Actually, I just realized that this is the wrong presentation. Um, but I can just start talking generally about the U-Fli Center if that's okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can grab the
Yeah.
right one.
Perfect. But again, hi everyone. My name is Julio. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the director of our Center for Undocumented First Generation College and Low-Income Students at Brown. I'm joined here again by Valeria, who's assistant director, and Jay Salcedo, who oversees our Kessler Scholars Program. And what we're going to do is just talk really briefly about what the U-Fli Center is, how to get connected, why it's important to the student experience, and then we'll transition over to a panel discussion with one of our current students and a parent and their parent. But the U-Fli Center is Brown's home for students who identify as undocumented, first gen, and or who are students from low-income backgrounds. You don't need to identify with all three in order to benefit from the support and resources of the center. So we like to just mention that and let people know. Oh, perfect. So can we go maybe to the third slide? Yep. Again, beautiful picture of our student staff and the things that we do. I just went over some of that. We provide personalized support throughout a student's Brown experience, and we help them build community, navigate the university, connect with campus resources, and develop the confidence and skills to thrive at Brown. So if a student has like a quick question or they're facing a challenge on campus or just wants a place where they feel connected and cared for, the U-Fli Center is here to support them. So know that there's always a place for your student to go to during their time at Brown. Next slide. And everything we do at the U-Fli Center is rooted in relationships. So again, we really encourage students to come in early, build relationships with the professional staff and also the student staff. We know that students are more likely to seek support when they already know how the people in the spaces available to them look like and who they are. Our hope is that every student knows that they have people at Brown that they can turn to throughout their time. So when the student engages with the U-Fli Center, I just kind of wanted to highlight a few things that we do. They can expect to find a welcoming community of peers and staff that provide all of the following. Individual advising and mentorship that can include referrals and connections to other resources. We provide a lot of opportunities for leadership development and professional development. We also do an array of programs that help foster connection and belonging for students. We know that's really important for students to feel like they have a home away from home or a place that they can go to that feels very familiar to them. And finally, just opportunities for reflection and personal growth and development. Students come in, thinking about the world in a very particular way, and we kind of want to take them through that process of learning and discovery and taking advantage of the open curriculum. So next slide. And ways to connect with the center. We're just going to go over a few of the programs that we manage and run. So students can connect with the U-Fli Center in, a variety of ways. Some might come looking for advice, some might come looking for mentorship, others just attend one workshop or participate in community-wide celebrations. Others come by to say hello. There's no right or wrong way to engage with the center. I mention this all the time that there are some students that I only see in the space but don't maybe don't attend some of our events. There are other students who don't attend events, don't come into the physical space, but they meet with our professional staff regularly. So again, encourage your students to connect in whatever ways feel most authentic and real for them. And that's why we create multiple pathways and opportunities for students to build those relationships with us. So some of those include the Reset Wellness Seminar, which is an initiative that we run for first and second year students, focused on like wellness. We also do really great events focused on career connections and exploration. Community building events like our National First Gen celebration. We have the Undocumented Student Program, which is a hub within the center that provides specialized advising and leadership development for liminal status students. And again, generally advising and mentorship from us, the professional staff who you're meeting today, as well as our U-Fli peer counselor team, which Jay will now talk about. Next slide.
Thank you. Yeah, so one of the programs that we are really proud of is our U-Fli Peer Counselor program. So our peer counselors, which we also call our PCs, are trained upper class students, so anywhere from their second year to their fourth year, who understand many of the experiences that your students will be navigating during their first year at Brown. And so they work closely with us professional staffers to serve as mentors, guides, and be another source of support for all of the first gen students at Brown that come to engage in the center or with our peer counselor program. We know that the transition to college comes with a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainties, whether it's, choosing classes, getting involved on campus, figuring out how college works. Most of the time, the most helpful person for these types of concerns is another student who remembers what it was like to be in that situation, to be in those shoes just a year or two ago. So our PCs are trained to help other students navigate their new life in college and remind them that they're not alone in the process and that other students have walked that path before them and can be there to guide them as well. Next slide, please. And then something new and exciting that we want to share is for this upcoming year, we have a new initiative that we're launching with the new student orientation office. And for the first time ever, incoming first generation college students will have the opportunity to opt into a first generation community track during their new student orientation. So any student who chooses this option will be placed in orientation groups like they typically would, but they would be led by first gen orientation leaders, and they'll have additional opportunities to connect with other first gen students before classes even begin. And so we hope you'll encourage your students to participate in this track so that they can be connected to the resources and the support early on. We're going to add the link in the chat. And just please encourage them to connect with us at the resource fair or at any point during their first year at Brown, because we are here to support them and looking forward to welcome the first year class this fall. Gonna pass it over to Valeria now.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Valeria. As they mentioned before, I am going to be moderating the panel with Brandon and his father, Frank. And I'm going to first have them introduce themselves with their name, hometown. And then Brandon, if you want to say your intended concentration, that would be great. And then we'll start with the questions.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon. I just finished my freshman year, so I'm a rising sophomore now. I'm from Woodbridge, New Jersey, and um, my intended concentration is biochemistry and molecular biology, and I'm on the pre-med track.
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at. My name is Frank Reyes. I am the father of Brandon Reyes, and I am in Woodbridge, New Jersey, uh, with a Hispanic background.
Awesome. Thank you both. So the first question, and I'm going to have you think back a year ago, right, in August, when you first moved into Brown. What was the transition like for both of you? What surprised you the most? And then as a parent and as a student, what was the most challenging aspect of the transition? Whoever wants to start off first.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Um, the transition for me, I'd say that the biggest feeling I got was uncertainty, and I just didn't know anything about what I was getting into, whether it be negative or positive. But for me, it was exciting because I just finished high school. It was a little bit stressful, and now I'm leaving home, and I'm gonna be living by myself basically. Um, I guess what surprised me the most when, coming here was that most of the people I met were very laid back. I was expecting it to be more cutthroat, more, like, what I would think of when I think, Ivy League university. But I felt that everybody was very welcoming, and yeah, they were just um everybody was getting into it as well. Everybody was there for the first time, so we were just helping each other out with the transition.
For me as a parent, of course, having the youngest out of the house, it was a bit of a challenge emotionally. Uh, but then once I visited Brown and we spent some days in town and then spending time with uh, just students and the campus and some of the leadership, uh, made me feel at ease. It made me feel like it's a welcoming school. I was, you know, like Brandon said, people were very welcoming. He calls it laid back, but they were just open and made everyone feel comfortable. And then the U-Fli Center, I gotta thank you because you definitely made that transition easier. You had a welcoming uh, powwow or get together where we were able to connect with other families. And it also served as support for Brandon in this journey. For us as parents, it made a lot of things easier because any questions we had, we were able to contact him and he would just go right to the U-Fli Center and get an answer for us. So thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. I feel like we often don't hear from the parents. We hear from the students, but it's always good to hear the feedback. And I think I like what you both said. I think a welcoming environment. I worked in the UC system. I worked at a private institution, and a lot of times people are like, "Yeah, it's Ivy League. It's so like cutthroat," as Brandon mentioned. But I think one aspect that I see throughout the university and at the U-Fli Center is that communal aspect of like, you're not alone in this process and you're going to be successful. And you will have someone to support you. I think if you don't remember anything from today, is go to the U-Fli Center. You'll get your answers, like questions answered, and be at the right place. Okay, so the next question, and this one's for Brandon. So your dad was like voluntold you for the first question, but this one is just for you, Brandon. As you think back on your first semester, what people, programs, or experience helped you feel like you belonged at Brown? And you mentioned U-Fli as one of the programs, but anything else that you would like to add would be helpful.
Um, that made me feel like I belonged at Brown. Obviously, U-Fly was that was one of the first experiences that I was able to interact with in the school. But beyond U-Fly, um, I was able to find friends during orientation week. Which if any incoming students are here right now, orientation week, they basically it's almost no classes. You're shopping, you're looking at classes, you're having little events with other students, other first years, and you're able to interact with everybody who's also going through this transition with you. And I feel like that helped a lot. And I think the 2 weeks afterwards where you're able to see, what stuck as well, the people that, um that you met during orientation week, and the ones that you kept talking to afterwards, that's when like those are the people that you would keep talking to for the rest of your year there. And finding friends with the same academic interests as you or similar, it also helps a lot because they can also serve to you know on cloud, um the feelings that you're feeling of, oh, what classes do I pick out, what extracurriculars should I do, what should I get involved in. And you guys are just having fun figuring everything out in the university, and that's what made me feel like I belong.
Yes. I think one aspect of like the peer counselors is the ability that they have to kind of like normalize folks like transition. It is going to be difficult. Some days are going to be good, some days are going to be bad. And I think like having friends and peers to kind of like vent and kind of be like, hey, I'm trying to figure this out, is very helpful as you are transitioning. And the other thing I would say is like, it's okay to have those feelings. I don't think that folks allow folks to have those feelings of like, yeah, I'm like, it's uncertain right now. And so take a deep breath. It is a feeling that it should be normalized, and you go from there. You have peers, you have the U-Fli Center, and many resources on campus. Okay, this next question is for Frank. What has it been like supporting Brandon from home? And you kind of mentioned already, like been a really emotional, right? The baby of the house left, and so that means something new for you as well. Were there moments where you weren't sure how to help?
Definitely. You know, this is a journey. It's definitely a new experience. Uh, but one thing I can say is that it makes me feel at ease when you see that your kid is in a school that it's kind of like a family. It's gotten to a point in which Brandon sometimes doesn't even want to come home. When at first it was the opposite. You know, he just loves the environment he's in. He's comfortable, and it just the school is so open and so welcoming that it opens up the door to networking, which is so important in anything you do. So for me, at times it is challenging. But like I said, if I have any questions that I can't answer, if I'm not able, because again, there's a lot of resources, even for parents. You're able to contact anyone at any given moment. It's just a quick email away, and you definitely get a quick answer, even if it's financial aid or any other questions that you might have. There will always be someone available at Brown to answer any questions. But if I can't, I could always rely on Brandon and you know being part of the U-Fli program definitely uh, has made things easier for us, me and my wife.
Thank you, Frank. And I think you mentioned something very important, networking. I think we always think about it as like very like corporate, like very much of like you only do it in these aspects, but we like to call it like community, like resource gathering as well. And it is important, right? That like there are so many folks that like you as parents and Branding as a student are meeting and that kind of support that network to grow and to thrive. So the next question is for both of you. How do you stay connected? Frankie said, sometimes Brandon doesn't even want to come home. Did your relationship or communication change over time? And Brandon, I'll have you start off since your dad just answered the question.
Um, to be honest, it's a lot coming to a new environment like this, and unfortunately, I didn't call my family that much at the start, and my mom didn't let that go. I noticed she always wanted to call me because it's a mix between you not being able to call as much and you not being able to communicate with them as much, and also them missing you more. So it's kind of both of you guys are the on opposite ends of the spectrum, and it is hard to get over that communication barrier. But I think all it takes is just talking on the phone for a good a good few minutes to say, hey, I can call at this time. I can't call at this time. I have classes 10:40 to 11. um it just takes like clear communication, and it'll be hard, but um unfortunately we did have to start being a little more scheduled with the way that we communicate with each other.
So for me, again, this is a journey. Let's be very, very clear on that. My wife needs constant communication. Um, I've learned how to adapt. So if I'm not, because I know he's busy. I know he has a lot of he mentioned at the beginning he had to he involved in many activities at school. Again, it's a close community, lots of networking, and we want to be open-minded when it comes to that. As parents, yes, we want to have conversations with our kids all the time. But for me, I had to adapt from being able to come to his room. Hi, Poppy, how are you? Are you okay? Good. Love you. Go. My wife always needed to get the details. What did you do? What did you eat? And so she also had to adapt to the point of sometimes we've learned to just send him a quick text. Hey, how are you doing? And my wife and I have adjusted so that if she speaks with him, she updates me and lets me know, hey, Brandon is okay. I spoke to him about this, that, and the other, or vice versa. But it's more than often her updating me because she's the one that wants all the details with Brandon. Regardless, be open. Your student is evolving, your child is growing and maturing, so it is a journey, at times painful, but it is rewarding when you see the person that they become or that they're beginning to become, and it's all because of the environment they're in, the community that they're becoming part of. And I am so thankful that Brown has given Brandon the opportunity to be part of that community, because I see the level of maturity in him. So thank you. I'm sorry. I'm a bit passionate about this, but
No, you're good. This is
thank you.
what the panel is for you to express yourself. And it sounded like it was challenging, right, based on needs. And that's gonna vary. And I also heard compromise. Like maybe it's not gonna be every day, right? There's gonna be some text. And so I think you adjust and adapt based on everyone's needs. Brandon is doing midterms. I remember when he was studying for organic chemistry, it was Orgo, and he was in the U-Fli center like every day. And I was like, damn, he is a little stressed, but he's managing as best as he can. Thank you for that answer for both of you. Okay, Frank, this is the next question. And you kind of started alluding to it, right? Like the maturity of Brandon. I've seen him grow as well. I think that's the most rewarding part of my job, is to see students from like day one to like the end of the semester and then the end of the year. But what has been the most rewarding part of watching Brandon grow during his time at Brown?
Well, it's been rewarding to see how he's maturing, how he is beginning to see a bigger picture, uh, beginning to have conversations with me that at times even challenge me. Uh, and by the way, I've had to check myself too, because I might have not been, proficient in whatever it is that we're having the conversation on. But Brandon definitely has demonstrated a level of maturity. Even the drive, Brandon is so committed and focused, and with the people that he has surrounded himself with, they also challenge him. So it's been a wonderful experience, and me being able to see how he is comfortable networking with others, how he's so open to build relationships, how he is proud to be part of that close community of Brown, definitely makes me feel proud of sometimes wearing the Brown hat.
Yes. That's beautiful. I think that like um you will see more growth from second, third, and fourth year moving forward, and everything that Brandon is involved. The next question for you, Brandon, is what do you wish your family understood about your first year that maybe you didn't share with them at the time?
I think that for me personally, I think it was pretty easy to talk to my parents. I know a lot of other students or incoming students might not share the same ease in talking to their parents about certain things. But I guess one thing that I guess I didn't feel comfortable, talking about with them because I guess, I'm not sure. It just felt like something that would subside, and it did, but it was the feeling of now I'm in this school, and um like maybe I don't belong here, maybe you just compare yourself to all these kids who might have done more than you in high school, or might have gotten a better grade than you on your first midterms. It was just the feelings of comparison that they just keep you, I guess, second guessing yourself, and in a constant state of wonder about, oh, should I really continue on this track? Should I keep doing what I'm doing, or should I just jump ship because other people are doing better than me here? And I guess some advice I would give some people, like maybe feeling those same feelings. They just got into Brown, they don't know, they deserve this opportunity. Like the bottom line is that you made it, like into the school, and what matters is what you do with this opportunity instead of how you got the opportunity in the first place. And it doesn't matter if you fail a midterm or two. I definitely failed my a fair share of midterms. You can always bounce back, and that's what matters. It's not about how other people do.
Yes, I always tell everyone comparison is the thief of joy. And it could a place like Brown where everybody's like top of the top, it's so easy to like start with the comparison, right? And I think each student brings their unique like strengths to Brown, and that's why you were admitted to Brown, right? Because of those strengths. The last question before we go into the Q&A, and then I'll have Frank answer first, and then Brandon, he kind of like alluded to some advice, but you can answer it second. What advice would you give to an incoming first gen student or to families preparing to send their students to Brown in the fall?
So the first thing I would say is, be understanding. Understand that they're going to go through, a process that they have not experienced in the past. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But you as a supporting uh, person in the student's life, you have to be there to understand that it's a journey for them as well. And like Brandon said, he didn't share with me that how he felt. Um, and I'm pretty sure some of your students or some of your kids are going to be feeling the same way. It is very important for you to just pivot, make the time, allow them the opportunity to speak and share their frustration, um, and just be a shoulder so they can lean on. Because there are times that you won't be able to help. There are times that there will not be anything you could do to make things different. But if at least they're able to vent, speak freely, and you're able to help them, or guide them to find some type of clarity in whatever challenges they're experiencing, it's extremely beneficial. Um, our students, you know, are competitive. As you heard Brandon, he wasn't just looking at how he was doing; he was looking at other students, and so all these students they're being they're joining Brandon and Brown are special, and you as a parent need to be clear on that. And because they're special, we need to continue to motivate them to get to other levels, like we just did getting them to Brown. So now it's time for us to just be a shoulder for them to lean on, and just be an emotional support as much as you can, because there are going to be things that, like I said, you won't be able to support them with. And that's all I could say. Just be a shoulder to lean on for your kid.
Um, like I guess the biggest piece of advice that I could give to incoming first gen students is that there's gonna be a lot of noise coming in, about everything, extracurriculars, social life, classes. I think the biggest thing I could tell you is just take things one at a time. Like I guess, take what you feel is most bothering you or most important to you and ask about it. Write it down, do something with it. Don't let it consume you. Don't let it become tangled with all the other thoughts in your mind. If you're worried about classes, there's resources for that once you get here or even before. If you're worried about social life, there's a Brown 2030 page. You could start texting people already. But yeah, take it simple, take it easy. It's a laid back environment. Obviously it's a completely new experience for you all, but um there's no point in trying to take it all at once. You're gonna fail, you're gonna succeed, there's gonna be your ups and downs, but um just take it one at a time, and you'll be all right. You'll learn.
Thank you both. Frank, I really like your advice. in terms of like just letting them vent. I think a lot of the times our work is that to just let students vent. A lot of times they have the answers themselves. They just need to like clear their thoughts out. Um, and then Brandon, I really like that. Like you're continuing to be reflective of like just write it down. Like don't let it like eat you up, right? And there are resources. There's tutoring, free tutoring for students, right? And so many resources on campus. Everyone on campus wants you to be successful and they want you to cross that stage. And so I think that is very important. I will open it up to any Q&A at this time. If there's not, we can go to other questions, but let me know.
I have a question that I think Brandon brought up a really important topic that I think lots of students experience. I think, goes by imposter syndrome, that feeling like, do I belong here? And I wanted to get, Leo, I wanted to get your take on some of the recommendations you've made. I'm sure you've come across other students who have been facing similar challenges. Do you want to talk more about how to counsel them either within the U-Fli Center or other resources on campus?
Yeah, I mean, I think any of us can chime in and chat a little bit about that. I think it, definitely generally is a phenomenon that a lot of our students experience and chat about and discuss. I think some of the best approaches to that is having students actually talk in groups to each other. Very often, what happens is that students feel like they're experiencing these things, or they do experience these things in isolation, and they feel like they're the only person that is feeling that way. And maybe Brandon can attest to that a little bit. But we talk to all the students, right? And we get to hear them out, as Valeria mentioned. And we share notes with each other and we discuss, and we find that a lot of the students are sharing that same feeling of not belonging or feeling like or questioning kind of their place at Brown. And so one of the best tools has always been to bring them together and be in conversation with each other, right? I think just doing again what Brandon was doing just now, which is like normalizing experiences of failure as well, has been really important and helpful, right? Brandon said you're going to fail, right? And that might happen for the first time for many of our students. High achievers come to Brown. It can be a competitive environment and they might fail, and that's okay. And that's part of the learning process, because eventually you're going to bounce back and you're going to succeed. But I think having those moments for the students to be in community, to come together, to share what they're experiencing with not just us, but each other helps normalize like those experiences, but also helps normalize the fact that failure is part of, being a Brown student. And that's why we go to Brown. And, I went to Brown. I am an alum. But I went there to learn and try new things, right? And to take advantage of the open curriculum. So I think that's just one way we counsel students, just more on like the social emotional aspect. On another aspect, there are so many different resources that Valeria alluded to, that are like phenomenal and helpful for students, right? Academic tutoring, they're one of our biggest partners. We do an event with academic tutoring at the start of every school year. And pro tip, if you attend that event as a first-gen student, the dean for academic tutoring will actually prioritize you for academic tutoring for any of the courses that you choose. So if you're listening, come and talk to us about that. But she really does love when she has that opportunity to connect with students. And if you attend that event, then she will surprise you with that fun fact of something that she can do for you to support you. So academic tutoring, we also are co-located with the Writing Center, so another great academic support resource. And there's, again, so many other resources on campus. So again, I think it's just not being afraid to kind of open up and share your experiences, talk to the professional staff, to let some of that energy out, but also talking with your classmates. And then I think coupled with accessing the important resources that we have on campus. I don't know if Jay or Valeria want to add anything. We're good. Valeria said that was good.
That was great. We did just get a question. Um, this is a tough one. So I'm going to start with you, Julio. But yeah, anybody who wants to chime in, please do. So this question is asking for advice for someone who maybe had a different lifestyle in their home country, and were financially, socially, academically very secure in their home country, but then was forced to become an immigrant or a refugee in the United States and had to really rebuild everything here from scratch. And now they're coming to Brown. What would your advice be for that student to navigate Brown? What would be their first steps? And I'll start with you, Cleo.
Yeah, let me think. I mean, I would definitely say coming to the U-Fli Center for Support is one of the best things to do. We tend to support students who may have this type of experience. You know, either they're immigrants to the United States or their parents were, but their life circumstances back in their home countries are very different here. Um, so I think what we rely on again is just that interpersonal types of relationships and support and connections to other resources. One of the biggest things that we tell students to do is to start to develop that community of support, right? And by that, it could also look like your board of trustees or those 5 to 10 people both on campus and outside of campus who are going to support you throughout your time, who you can like lean on for a variety of different things. And I feel like having that support structure and system while you're navigating a new environment at Brown, like an Ivy League university, um, will help, I think, a student just like manage some of that transition, right? And to really understand like what they can do with the opportunity to be at a place like Brown and the resources that are at their disposal. So that would be my approach, I think, in thinking about it, just like being grounded by community and people at Brown to then like facilitate and help with that transition and knowing that, after your time at Brown, you're definitely gonna have a lot of different access and social capital and you're gonna do well financially afterwards.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to tackle that one? Right. I am gonna ask just a really general question. I'm gonna start with Frank and Brandon. So it's almost the end of July. Well, we're in the middle of July. I don't want to rush summer too much. And these families are home. It's their final weeks with their student before they go to school. What would be your advice to sort of make the most of this time before they bring their student up to Brown? Frank, I'll start with you.
Well, Brandon this year did not come home. He did spend a couple of days with us, but he's been part of a program in Rhode Island that did not allow him to spend all summer with us. However, he is coming back home this weekend. It is his birthday, so so we're planning to spend some time with him. Try as much as you can to connect. Try as much as you can to enjoy the time with him or her, whoever your kid is. Cherish every moment because the rest of the year they're going to be submerged with so many responsibilities and activities that might hinder them from coming back home, depending on where you live. So I would say make every moment matter and count. Make it meaningful because those students need to disconnect when they're away from school. Even though Brown, again, I can't speak enough about the culture in Brown. I mean, even just walking around campus, you see so many individuals just having a great time, welcoming everyone, and you could just join any group without fear of anything. I see it. Brandon just says hello to people that he'd never met or interacted with before, and I'm like, who was that? Well, just met him. And it's just wonderful to have a school with such prestigious name welcome students and make students feel the way Brown does. It's unique, by the way. So whenever you're spending time with your student, make sure that you make it count, make it matter, make it special. So when they come back to school, they're re-energized and refreshed. That's all I could say.
Thank you, Brandon.
Um, yeah, I guess I would agree with my dad. Like, just I don't know, just hang out with them, before they go off to college. I get it's unfortunately it's kind of a done deal. They're kind of off in a couple weeks, so just treat it as if like you're not gonna see them again. Like, all right, so I guess that's morbid advice, but just try to connect with them as much as you can. Also, thank you guys for the birthday wishes. Very much appreciated. But yeah, just connect with them as much as you can before they go off. Obviously, it's not gonna be the last time you see them, but still, just um hang out with them. Go to the mall. Go, I don't know, go to the park. Just chill.
Now, before you left home, did you talk about how often you were going to communicate and how you were going to do it?
Absolutely not. I
I
just
see your dad
assumed.
shaking his head. He is not.
Yeah. Before I left home, no, it was kind of just them dreading like me leaving rather than actually making a like us making a plan to talk once I'm actually there. They did treat it as if
It was the
it was the
last
last time they were
time.
gonna see me. So
Oh,
I'm actually gonna reframe my advice. Maybe talk about how you guys are gonna communicate once you're actually in the school year during the summer. Um just it doesn't have to be like all 2 weeks you have to talk about it, but just sit down, have a conversation. Hey, let's call, maybe on the weekends or this time on a weekday or once you already get your school schedule. But it's important to set that up and to not just leave your family in the unknown.
Well, it's very challenging to be able to plan that because you might plan, hey, let's have a conversation every Tuesday or every Wednesday, and things happen. So I just want parents to be flexible, and whenever leverage technology because you don't want to add additional stress because my wife loves to talk to Brandon, and she needs a conversation. If it's up to her, it's every moment, every hour. This is the baby we're talking about. And so we need to be mindful that they have their own responsibilities and they have their own things to do. And so just be flexible. Yeah, have a conversation about, hey, make sure that you don't disappear on us. But let's leverage technology to make sure that that we stay in touch and know and understand that I'll always be here for you, no matter what. And that's what matters.
that's great advice. I think we need to have Brandon's mom come on here. um, Valeria, how about you? Any advice for students getting ready to come here and their families and what they should be thinking about right now?
Ooh, that's great advice. I think everything's gonna come rushing. I'm trying to remember my time when I moved in. My high school counselor actually moved me in. Um, I think it's important to like normalize all experiences. I think Frank is an amazing parent. I hope to be a parent like you, Frank. I have an upcoming kid in October. And not everybody has that experience, right? And so and that's okay. And part of our job is to be like, hey, if your family doesn't look like a traditional family, like you have support on campus. And so knowing that like not everybody's experience is the same, and that's okay. And some parents are going to be a little bit more understanding, some are not. Some of them are not going to be able to be on the phone as well, or they're not going to be able to check in or have the answers, but you have someone on campus. And that could be the U-Fli Center, that could be any of the identity centers where you go. Just know that you're not alone.
Yeah. Julio, you want to weigh in on that? You're good.
No, I would just, echo and retweet everything that everyone was saying. I really appreciate Frank's perspective on like being a parent and like being flexible, being open, and really understanding that your student is going to experience something that, they might not even have thought of, right, ever. I think for many students, even for myself, right, I would have never thought that I would have been at a place like at Brown at the age of 18. It was a whole new world to me. And so I think, my mom's flexibility and my mom's just like openness or, just to be like, okay, well, I just keep me posted or update me. I don't really understand what's going on. And I think that's fine, right? The fact that my mom didn't understand or know is okay. But I had to bring her through that process with me to like learn what it was like to be at Brown, to learn what I was experiencing for the first time. Because there was, we were speaking the same language, but it wasn't translating, right? There were new experiences and things that she had never gone through or experienced at all, and things that she will never know about, right? And that's okay. But I think it was my job as a student at that time to bring along that process. And I appreciated her role and just being really open and understanding that I was also changing as a person.
Great. I don't want to forget Jay. If you want to add anything to the conversation.
Hi. A lot of good things were said. I think I've been in like I have like I was like the first staff member to like connect with Brandon over the summer when he applied for the Kessler program late. And we worked around the deadlines and made sure that we were able to consider him. And we're really, really lucky to have him in the program. So I'm just like sitting here looking at Brandon and interacting with his dad, Fran, who I also met. And I'm a little bit like,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Really, thank you for being here. And even like, that family mixer that we did last year, that was the first time we ever did anything like that. So to see like how it has brought our relationship with Brandon and being able to contextualize like where he comes from, who his people are, has been really helpful in supporting him. And so it feels really full circle. I'm also thinking about my own child going to college in probably like 12 years, but it still feels like it'll fly by. So I think a lot of the advice that was said was mainly toward the parents. Maybe I'll share like for the students, something that I kind of realized as I was coming out of college is just that for a lot of the time that I was in there, I was feeling a little bit maybe resentful toward my mom. I'm like, she's not here. She doesn't care about my grades. She doesn't understand what I'm studying or what I'm doing. And through like a reflection project that I did, I realized that she had done a lot to get me to that door so that I could get through it and go into college. But it was kind of like my job at that point to open that door and keep it open behind me so she could come in and experience that world, because it's a world that she wasn't a part of before, and so she couldn't understand in that way. And so to the students, I just say who are first gen, like just keep in mind as well the transition that it is for the parents who maybe love and support you but just don't fully understand what is on the other side of that door. And so be patient and give them grace as well. Try to, welcome them in and bring them in with you on the journey. And like everyone had already said, I'll just echo like open communication, planning ahead for things that you may not like even anticipate, like when to talk, when to connect, how to deal with situations where like maybe you thought you were gonna spend summer again with your child, but now it's looking like they have other plans, which is really exciting to them, but maybe not so exciting to the parent. And so just understanding both sides of the experience and being open to how the other person is kind of feeling and experiencing it all is what I would say to, I guess, both the parents and the students, but mostly the students. I'm sure that if your parents are like nagging you because they want to talk to you more or see you more, it's because they care and they love and miss you. And so make sure that you acknowledge that as well during the process of trying to like walk them through what you're experiencing on your end. Yes. Thank you.
It's beautiful. That was wonderfully said. Yeah, there's no one way to do this. Oh my gosh. Here she is.
Hi, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias.
Yeah, that's Brenda's mom.
Hello.
Aquí está Frank Reyes diciendo que tú quieres saber todo, que lo que come Brandon, cuando duerme, cuando despierta.
Claro, claro. Mi bebé, pobrecito, mi niño, solito por allá.
Well, we're excited we got to meet the whole family and on your
Yeah.
birthday. So this is
Yeah.
wonderful. So we're almost at the end of our time. I'm going to put a survey link into the chat for folks who are watching. It's 3 questions. It helps us to make sure that we keep providing information that's helpful to you. So if you want to take a second to fill that out, that'd be great. Like I mentioned before, we will have this recording posted in a day or two. And if you have any questions after this that we haven't answered, you can always reach me at family@brown.edu. And then I can get the questions to the folks at the U-Fli Center or anywhere else that you need to get your questions answered. We have a few more webinars left in the series. We're going to have one for athletes next week. We'll have one on advising next week. And in August, we will have one about student orientation. So I hope you'll sign up for those as well. But for now, I just want to, there's a lot of people to thank. I want to thank Frank. And what's your wife's name, Frank?
Gloria.
And Gloria and Brandon, the whole family, and Valeria and Jay and Julio. And we also had Patty and Kath with us as interpreters, and Robin, our cart and person, and Lewis, our media services. So it takes a village to get this to you, but we're all here waiting to meet you. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your evening. Take care, everyone.